The courtroom was filled with anticipation as Linda Fields walked up to the judge, with her husband by her side. A woman who wasn't about to take the blame for something that wasn't her fault. She smiled at Judge Caprio and began, "Good morning, Your Honor." "Good morning, Linda." Judge Caprio replied warmly, recognizing the situation that was about to unfold. Linda wasted no time in diving into her story. "I got the ticket, but he was driving my car," she explained, pointing to her husband. The audience chuckled as Linda took the opportunity to say what many people might be thinking. "I'm not guilty. He is." A ripple of laughter swept through the courtroom, but Linda wasn't done yet. "Let me explain what happened," she said, beginning the saga that would keep everyone laughing. "I got the ticket in the mail and thought, 'What's this?'" Linda recounted. "He says, 'Just pay it.'" But Linda wasn't having it. "I said, 'What happened?'" Her husband, looking a little sheepish, replied, "I was at the corner of Eddie and Dudley, and I turned right on a yellow light." Linda, in disbelief, asked, "You went through a yellow light?" She was clearly not convinced by his explanation. "I'm not paying it. We're going to fight this," she declared. Little did she know, the battle had just begun. The drama thickened as Linda revealed that their son had been in a serious car accident, and she was visiting him in the hospital 3 times a day. "We're going to fight this," she insisted once more. By Wednesday, the couple had watched the video footage of the incident for the first time. Linda's face changed as she observed the footage. "You went through a red light," she stated, catching the moment her husband had hoped to avoid. And with that, Linda's husband found himself in the hot seat. Judge Caprio, with a knowing smile, remarked, "So, you came here today to tell me he's guilty?" Linda wasn't having any of it. "I'm not guilty. The ticket's in my name," she fired back. But the judge wasn't letting her off that easily. No, I understand that. You came here today to tell me he's guilty," he teased. With the audience cracking up, Judge Caprio asked, "So you think he's really guilty, huh?" Linda didn't hesitate. "When I looked at that video, if I was a policeman, I would say he was guilty." Guilty. After some laughter, the judge had Linda play along with a little courtroom roleplay. "Raise your right hand and repeat after me," he began, making her play the part of the officer reviewing the case. The judge explained how the footage showed the light turning red only 0.3 seconds before her husband passed through it, almost as if the light was still yellow. Linda, ever the skeptic, looked at the judge with a smile. "It was a little bit close," she conceded, but added, "0.3 of a second is not much." Her husband laughed, trying to smooth things over, but it was clear that Judge Caprio was enjoying every moment of the banter. "You're wearing Inspector Quinn's badge now," the judge continued, and asked Linda how she would handle the case. "What do you do? Do you give him the benefit of the doubt, or do you say, 'Hey, 0.3, pay the fine'?" After a dramatic pause, Linda finally responded, "I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and he has to take me to dinner." The audience burst into laughter at the clever twist. Judge Caprio agreed with Linda, adding that 0.3 of a second was so small that he would have likely dismissed the ticket. And with such a high-powered defense like that, he added, nodding toward Linda's quick thinking, "There's no way I could charge him." In the end, the ticket was dismissed, and Linda's husband got off the hook. But there was one more piece of the puzzle. As Linda's husband jokingly asked for the gavel, the judge jokingly refused, saying, No, you can't bring it with you." It was a lighthearted moment that had everyone laughing. But behind the humor was a lesson in handling life's challenges with a little humor and a lot of love. As Linda and her husband walked away, the audience was left with a key takeaway: the secret to a long and happy marriage It's not complex strategies or big romantic gestures. Instead, it's two simple words. Yes, dear. Linda's husband had clearly learned this early on, as Linda reminded everyone, "We've been happily married for 43 years." This heartwarming and hilarious moment from Caprio Court reminds us of the power of love, laughter, and second chances. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications for more unforgettable moments. Share this video with your friends and tell us in the comments, would you have dismissed the case? You be the judge. It was a typical morning in the courtroom, but for Sylvia Colby, it was a moment that would not only change her life, but also touch everyone present in the courtroom. Sylvia entered the courtroom with her daughter, Justina, in tow. The atmosphere was lighthearted, with the little one stealing the spotlight with her adorable interactions. As she approached the bench, Judge Caprio greeted her warmly, asking, "Hi, good morning, Sylvia. Please get close to the microphone." When Judge Caprio turned his attention to Justina, the tiny 3-year-old had everyone in the room smiling. She was sweet, innocent, and full of energy. When asked how old she was, Justina proudly declared, 3. With a sparkle in her eyes, Justina instantly became the star of the courtroom. The judge decided to make things fun and asked, "We're going to show you a movie." Of course, the movie was a demonstration of whether her mom had run a red light on Westminster Street. "Look up there," said the judge, pointing to the monitor. As the footage played, Sylvia's car was clearly seen passing through a red light. The courtroom waited in anticipation for Justina's verdict. Judge Caprio asked her, "Is your mommy guilty or not guilty?" With a grin, Justina responded loudly and proudly, "Guilty." The room erupted in laughter and applause. The playful scene continued with Justina enthusiastically banging the gavel and chanting "guilty" multiple times. The judge couldn't help but chuckle, saying, "She's a very smart girl. I think someday she's gonna be a judge." As for Sylvia, she couldn't hold back a smile as she watched her daughter in action. After the lighthearted moment, Judge Caprio shifted back to a more serious tone. He learned that Sylvia had 2 children and 1 on the way, and Sylvia shared that she was 6 months pregnant. The judge, ever the one for humor, joked, "You may want to consider naming your son Francesco. It's a great name. Everyone wants it." However, the lightheartedness didn't last long. The judge then moved to the serious matter at hand. Sylvia had been given a second chance after her car was booted due to unpaid red light violations. Judge Caprio had previously granted her an extraordinary break, releasing the boot for just $40 when there was a remaining balance of $460. However, Sylvia had not made any payments since then, despite being ordered to pay $75 bi-weekly. Judge Caprio's frustration was clear. "I really get upset when people take advantage of my leniency," he said. When Sylvia tried to explain her situation, she mentioned that her grandmother had passed away, and she had been busy traveling to Texas and caring for her 16-year-old brother. But Judge Caprio wasn't moved by her story. "Don't give me another sad story," he said. "I'm not sympathetic to that. What I'm not sympathetic to is you have a terrible disposition. You need an attitude adjustment." Sylvia, still trying to defend herself, explained the challenges she had been facing. She was young, raising her brother and daughter while working full-time as a CNA. Judge Caprio listened but maintained his stance, telling her that while he sympathized with her struggles, he couldn't overlook her disrespect for the court. He ultimately decided to reinstate the previous judgment and required her to pay $160 to have the boot removed. But then, something shifted. Sylvia returned to the court voluntarily to settle the matter and showed that she was ready to take responsibility. "Everything is falling back into place," she said, explaining that her situation had improved and she now wanted to start making payments. Judge Caprio, seeing the genuine change in Sylvia's attitude, softened. "I think I misread you," he said, offering an apology for his earlier outburst. "I thought you got booted again." "But you didn't." He offered Sylvia a new payment plan of $25 every 2 weeks for the next 16 weeks, promising that if she kept up with the payments, the balance would be dismissed. The change in the courtroom atmosphere was palpable. Sylvia had learned the value of taking responsibility, and Judge Caprio acknowledged that. "I knocked it down even further, but I want you to show me that you can do it." As the proceedings wrapped up, Sylvia agreed to the plan, and the tension in the room dissolved into smiles and laughter. "I'll bring my brother," she said, joking that her brother might even help Judge Caprio decide the next case. The courtroom erupted in laughter once more. These stories from Judge Caprio's courtroom are more than legal proceedings. They're lessons in empathy, fairness, and the human condition. Judge Caprio's ability to balance the law with compassion shows us that behind every case is a unique story worth hearing. If you are moved by these heartfelt moments, consider sharing this video to spread the message of kindness and understanding. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories of humanity and justice. Together, let's celebrate the power of compassion and the difference it makes in the world.